Hey guys, so over the last few months I have been trying to refine my YouTube recording setup. So I've been picking up different poles and brackets and clamps and different things, and I think I made the same, I'm going to say mistake, but I think I did the same thing that a lot of YouTubers did when they're kind of going up the levels, and that I kind of cheaped out a few times and I picked up cheaper clamps and cheaper tripod accessories and cheaper poles. And there's nothing bad with doing that per se, but these things are more liable to break, and this one is broken. And generally these type of items, these cheaper tripod accessories, they do work, but they don't support as heavy a payload. So they're more kind of suited towards lighter items such as microphones. When you put cameras and different things on them, there's more chance that something will wobble, or there's more chance of something dropping, and you don't want to do that if you've got an expensive camera. So I've been gravitating towards more expensive professional photography equipment from Manfrotto, and I've got a range of different Manfrotto poles, and I've got like 5 of these super clamps, and the latest thing that I've purchased is this. So this is what I'd like to talk about in this video. This is the Manfrotto 396B. It is a 3-section double articulated arm with camera attachment. So what I'd like to do in this video is just go over the specifications and just show you what this is all about. Just move it around and just give you my initial thoughts on it all. And then I'll get the overhead camera and give you a closer look at how it works. And then finally, I'm actually going to integrate this into my setup right here. Right now, this camera, my Sony a6500, is actually positioned on a tripod, which is, common. But what I'm going to do is attach this to the desk and put the Sony camera on this on the top instead. And hopefully there's not too much wobble with the way that I set it up. But the idea is that I can get a little bit more room back, in my room just by using this. So I don't have a big tripod in the room. I'm going to have this instead. But of course, you can use this for so many different things. In certain setups, you might be able to use this as an overhead camera or something else. So if I jump back to the browser, we'll learn a little bit more about what this is all about. So this is it. It's called the 396B, and you'll find that somewhere. But the key thing here is that this is a 3-section double articulated arm with camera attachment. It weighs 0.9 kilograms or 2 pounds, and it has a payload up to 4.5 kilograms or 9.9 pounds. And that was the most important thing for me, that this can carry a lot of weight. It can hold the camera without wobbling. Now, it's important to note that because Manfrotto sell a lot of brackets, a lot of accessories, hundreds, probably even thousands, I don't know. But when you're looking for something like this, you'll come across the 2-section, the single arm 2-section option, and the 3-section. Now, the key thing about both of these is that these ones anyway, they're single arm, which means that there's only one arm there, so it doesn't carry as much weight. This one weighs 0.5 kilograms and it has a payload of 1.5. This one, which I guess is the closest competitor, its own variation, this one weighs can support up to 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds. Now, these items, in comparison to a lot of cheaper things in the market, they're not cheap. This says £140 here. I paid 110 from Amazon, and this does generally sell at between 100 and 150 around the world. And you will save a little bit of money by going for the single arm or the single arm 2-section or 3-section. Now, for some people, you might want to go for that. It might be all that you need, if you're holding something light. But long term, I wanted something more secure, stronger, so I didn't want to cheap out. Now, it does come, as you can see here, it does come with the camera bracket. And this is the camera bracket here, 143, which I remember searching for it, 143BKT. So they've got all these, codes, etc. But yeah, this is the camera umbrella bracket, and this is a simple attachment for your camera. It does come with the package. But this arm, the Manfrotto 3-section double arm, or I'll get it right, 3-section double articulated arm, this does not come with the super clamp, and that's what you will need to use this. So this is the super clamp. I've done a video about this before. It's great. You can attach these to poles, to desks, to basically anything. You can attach this to anything. You can see here it supports up to 15 kilograms. So that's separate. So if you are thinking about buying this, I'll just say this right away. Factor in the fact you'll need to pay another 20 to 30 pounds or dollars to pick up the super clamp as well. And as I said, I've got loads of these super clamps around. This is another one I've got spare, which I'll use at one point. And these can be purchased with or without mounting studs. which you can use for attaching accessories, and I've got the wedges as well, so you can attach it to the desk. So let's talk about how this works. So first thing to do, I'll show you, is take this out, the super clamp. Now, I'll show you this when I do the overhead shot, but basically with the super clamp, you've got the area where the mounting stud goes in, and there's just a little button here, and then you can push this in and do that. Now, when it's loose, you can actually swivel this around. That's important to note. But when you tighten it up, and I'm sure this is how most people will use it, when it's tight, you can't move it. In fact, when you try to do what I just did there and move it around, you'll start to move the clamp out of position. So, I don't know, maybe in a certain situation you'll want to move it around, but what you have to do is kind of loosen the screw, swivel it around, and then get it into position and then tighten it up. Now, it's worth noting that because I think a lot of people are under the misconception that this is designed to swivel. This is the Rode PSA 1, and have I got it the right way? Yes, I have. This is the Rode PSA 1, and I've got one of them over here for my microphone, and that's what these are really designed for. But a few years ago, I actually used this for an overhead camera, and the great thing about that was that you can swing it around 360 degrees. And I guess technically you could do the same with this, technically, but it kind of isn't designed for that. It's more designed to be in a fixed position. Now, as far as wobble goes, you can probably see here just now that when I'm moving around, there is a little bit of wobble. That will depend on how you have this set up though. When this is kind of, lowered down and more compact, it's much, much more secure. I mean, if you're recording videos or taking photos, if you're involved in this kind of thing already, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this video, then you're probably aware of that. It's the same thing with tripods. When you start extending poles a little bit further out, stability does become an issue. So the key thing to note here is that there's basically 4 connections here, 4 sections, or there's 3 arms, and there's 4 different connections here which you can adjust. So all you do is you move it, like if I spin it around here actually, I'll get it around this position first. I'll tighten it back up again. So this is now loose and I can put it into basically any position. Once it's there, I'll just turn the cog and that's secure. And then I move on to this one and I can bring that down. And then I can bring this one like that. And then I can move this one. And you can put this into many weird and wonderful positions. But it's not as user-friendly, I would say, as many other solutions. But I think this is more designed to be, when you use it, just leave it there and it's fixed in place. As far as cameras go, as far as recording goes, I think when you get this into position, as long as the table isn't wobbling too much, this is super secure. And I would say this is more secure than, say different mounting poles and clamps that you get for your desk. Certainly in comparison to my overhead solution, I'm using a Manfrotto pole right now on a super clamp again, but when I move the desk, things do shake around, and this is one of the issues I have, and another issue that I do need to try and tweak and refine over time. I would say that this is one of the most secure kind of mounting solutions that I've got right now. But how secure it is will depend on how you do this. I mean, when you put it in something like that, it's really, really secure. There is still a little bit of wobble if you're moving things around and kind of playing around with it, but it's a lot more stable than it is when the camera's up high or, quite extended. So what I'd like to do at this position is just put this under the overhead camera and we'll have a closer look at how this works. I think it will give you a better understanding as to what this is all about. So I now have the Manfrotto 3-section double articulated arm with the camera attachment, and I've got it here on the desk all squashed up, and this is how small you can get it, which is quite good actually. If you're traveling, if you need to take this somewhere, it does squash up quite small if you need to put it in a bag or something. Now I'm going to show you how this works, but before I do, I want to quickly show you the Manfrotto super clamp. Now this accessory will work with other Manfrotto tripod accessories, etc. This locking system will work with it. But I think most people who buy this or one of the single arms will buy it with the super clamp. Again, it's not included, but it is probably what most people will use it with. So I've did a video about this before, and these things are fantastic. Very, very easy to use. You can clamp something down, you can release it. Now it comes with this wedge as well, which is what I use if I'm using it with a desk. But if I'm using it with a pole, I will take that out, which I can get out if I can. Let me see, there we go. So I can take that out if I'm using it with a pole or something, for example. But I normally use it with this wedge when I'm clamping on a desk. But the other thing that we need to pay attention to here is this part. So you've got your 1/4" thread and different tripod holes there, but the key part here is here. Bring round. You can see it's just a simple push and release system, and then you can just tighten it up with that. Now the super clamp here doesn't normally come with a mounting stud, but they're normally available separate as a separate package. So it comes, you can either buy it on its own, or you can buy it with a stud, or you can buy them separately so you can get the stud that you want. So I've got a few spare, and you just push this down so that you can get in, and just drop it in, and see it's maybe a little bit too tight there. Drop it in, tighten it up, and look at that, super, super secure. So that's a 3/8, so now I can put like a tripod ball head on there. So very, very simple to use. You could obviously use that there as well. But that's basically how the super clamp works. And now that you understand that, you understand how you connect the articulated arm to it, because you've got this attachment down here, and all you do is slot it in. And once it's slotted in, I'll actually get this in camera, you just tighten it up like that. There we go. And there we go. That is not budging at all. I couldn't move that even if I tried. So this would be attached to a pole, tripod, a desk, or whatever, and now you've got the articulated arm. So I'll release that a little bit, tighten it up. So as far as this section goes, how you get it into the position you want, you've got a few different options. There's 3 arms, but there's 4 Manfrotto quick locks, which you should be able to see. It says Manfrotto quick lock. If it's going to get into focus, there we go. So what you could do what I was doing there in the desk and just tighten one up at a time. But alternatively, you can loosen them all like that. And it's just like it's not even a 1/4 turn. But once you've done that, you can basically move it into any position you want. Pretty much any position you want. But of course, I mean, in theory, these should be able to go 360 degrees, but obviously they bump into each other. So you've got like at 180 degrees there, kind of. Or more than that, nearly as 360, what am I talking about? So yeah, you can move these around into any position you want. Once you get them in any position that you want, that's it. That's how you quickly tighten it up. Just like, look at that. That's it open, that's it tightened. It's so simple, and it's quite amazing actually how little pressure you need to apply to make it tight. Now, if you look closer at it, you can see how it works. You can see there, if I hold it up, you can see there. That's all that's happening there. I'm just loosening it, tightening it. That's it. You've obviously got different parts here you can connect as well. So the final piece of the puzzle is the camera attachment, which comes with it. And it kind of works the same as in the base. So if I turn this around, you can see that if I loosen this part here, I can slide this off. So this is just the same kind of attachment as you've got at the bottom. So if you don't want to use the camera attachment, you can use many other Manfrotto accessories that are available in the market. And I'm just going to open this up, take it out of the Sony camera, and that's what you've got. And this is quite good because you can use this with other Manfrotto accessories. For example, I've got a couple of different Manfrotto poles, different poles that I've got, and these will work with this because the mounting stud will just slot into it. Well, this one doesn't work, but you can get different mounting studs and poles that work with this. So the ones that I've got over there do work. So that's pretty much all there is to it. You just have to secure this to your desk or to your pole, then loosen it, loosen the 4 locks, get it into position, and then attach your camera bracket. That's it. That's all there is to it. Now, what I will say though is, again, if you're going to go high, you're going to go long, stability could be an issue, but it will depend on the weight of what you're holding. If you're going to hold a 2 kilogram camera, you probably don't want to extend it out that far. Whereas if you've got something light, a small camera like this, a webcam or something, you probably get a little bit more leeway, a little bit more flex as to how far you go. But I mean, this is common. This is, kind of what happens with any tripod accessory. So what I'm going to do at this point is replace the tripod, which is holding up the camera right now, and put in the Manfrotto 396B. So the double articulated arm is now in place. I have removed the tripod, which was previously being used to hold my main camera here. So I've got the camera on top of the articulated arm, and it's super clamped to the center of the desk. Now, I actually did this about 24 hours ago, and I recorded a clip about it using this lavalier mic, which is around here. But unfortunately, the audio was distorted, so I couldn't use that clip in this video, which has kind of turned out to be a good thing, because today I recorded another video, so it's given me a full day to kind of gather my thoughts on this articulated arm. Now, as far as setting it up goes, it's very, very simple. You just hold your camera in place, just loosen all the quick locks, get it in position, and then tighten it up. And I think that moving forward, I'm always going to tweak things a little bit, but moving forward, if I need to change something with this camera setup, I suspect it will be like 3 or 4 minutes to get everything in place. But yesterday, I think I spent about 15 minutes, maybe even 20 minutes messing around, because I was putting the camera in different positions, I was moving the arms in different positions, and I was running back to the seat to check that the alignment was okay. So I spent a little bit more time because I was trying to familiarize myself with it and how it worked. But moving forward, I think I would only spend a few minutes with it. And it is quite rigid when you've got it set. It's super rigid actually, but there is still a little bit of wobble. Certainly if you bump into it, it will move. But that's to be expected. If you're going to be moving the arm directly, the camera will move. Once you're away from it, it's fine. But it's very, very easy to set up. Despite only spending 15-20 minutes with setting up the articulated arm, I spent, I'm not even joking, about 2 hours trying to get my big LED light working. And eventually I just had to remove it from my setup. That LED light is quite good, as far as the light that it provides on, it generates on me, and it's quite a good little light, but it's big and it's heavy and it's clunky. And I tried lots of different variations of poles and super clamps and, tripod accessories to try and get it in position. But it's just too big and heavy and clunky to attach to anything else without making these other light and microphone and camera setups unstable. So I decided to remove it from my setup. Without doubt, it is the right thing to do. So I guess from my own point of view, for my setup, it's kind of 2 steps forward with the bracket and 1 step back with the light. But I was looking to replace that light, and I think I'll find something smaller. So can I recommend this Manfrotto 396B? Of course I can. It's absolutely excellent. And for me moving forward, even if I had to change my setup, I would probably buy one of these again for a light or a microphone or something else. It's one of those flexible accessories that you just want to have in your collection for something random that you're doing when you're doing filming, or I'm sure photographers would use it as well. If you're going to be using it for a light or a microphone or something small like a webcam, there is a good argument for going for the single arm 2-section or 3-section. But I guess if you want to future-proof yourself, it could be worth paying a little bit more to get the more expensive double articulated arm, because down the line you might use it for something else, and it gives you that flexibility of using it for a heavier camera. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. I hope you've got a better understanding as to what the Manfrotto 396B 3-section double articulated arm with camera attachment bracket, such a mouthful, but I hope you've got a better idea as to what it's all about and what it can do. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, please do post them below. And until next time, take care.